going to make our witch hat using this open tree form. Now, we're going to start with, we're going to attach the witch hat. We're going to use this twist at the top. We're not going to use these twists on this little trunk part, but we will use a twist on that lower edge. And now there's only 3 twists there, well 4 if you count that one on the corner, and we'll probably need more than that. If you wanted to, you could cut some of these twists off in the center part that you're not going to use. I'm not going to do that because I'm liable to use this tree form again for something else. So I'm going to use chenille ties. When I come to a place that I need to attach, I'll just use a chenille stem. But we're going to start by just taking our mesh, and this is a wide foil mesh. It's black and lime. And when we say wide foil, it means that the foil pieces are wider than the typical metallic mesh. But just grasp your mesh about 3 inches from the end, and you can just let that roll off in the floor. And then start at the top of your tree and use this twist that's at the very top and just secure that mesh with a couple of turns. And then you want to just kind of take your mesh and just sort of smooth it down. Don't pull it real tight, but you don't want it real loose either. And come down to this corner, the bottom of the tree, not the trunk, but that last, that first corner right there. And we're just going to attach that. A couple of turns, and then we're going to take our mesh and we're just going to work right back up to the top. Just going to kind of smooth that down, go right back up to the top, and we're going to open that twist. Make sure that first strip stays in place. Secure that second strip. We're going to be using this top twist the whole time. Just bring that back down to the bottom. And now I'm to an area where I don't have a twist to use, so I'm just going to use a chenille stem. Going to cut it in half. I won't need a whole one. Just going to attach the chenille stem to the frame. Okay, keep working. Come back up to the top. Now we're probably like about 1 more strip and we should have our top covered. Okay, now I'm on my last strip. I'm going to attach that using that last twist right there. Okay, so now I have the top part of my witch hat made. You can see it there. And then I'm going to cut my mesh loose. Just going to leave an end of about 3 inches or so. Okay. So we still have our little tree trunk that we didn't use, and we're going to cover that up. We're going to go back over this area now with ruffles and make the bottom of our witch hat. I'm going to make 10-inch ruffles. The mesh is already 10 inches in width, so I'm going to cut 10 inches in length pieces. I cut the remainder of my mesh up into the 10-inch strips. Now I'm not sure if that's going to be enough or not, but I have another roll of mesh in case I need it. But we're going to make a ruffle, you can see how the mesh just curls up naturally. Well, we're going to lay that down and then scrunch right up through the center of that mesh. Just pinch it together where you have a little bow tie, and that's your ruffle. And we're going to make a cluster of 3 of these. So now I have a cluster of 3 ruffles, and I'm going to take my witch hat, and I'm going to start on this outer edge, and I'm going to attach this cluster of ruffles on that outer edge. Now I'm just going to work along this edge of the wreath, adding clusters of 3 ruffles. I'm not going to add anything to these bottom ones. This will be covered up when we're all done. And in the places where I won't have a twist to use, I'm going to use a chenille stem and just attach my ruffle with the chenille stem. Now when I have to attach my cluster with the chenille stem, I'm going to take my 3 ruffles and I'm just going to put the chenille stem over the top of the ruffles, catch it from the back side, and give it a couple of twists. And this way you've made a little pick, and then I'm going to take that chenille stem and I'm just going to slide it over the metal frame and catch it from the back side and secure it again, just twisting that chenille stem. And that way you don't have ends of your chenille stem sticking up where you might see them. I'm going to try to make this witch hat with just 1 roll of mesh, and I'm down to 5 curls, 5 pieces left. So I'm going to put a piece in the middle that just has 2 ruffles. I don't think it'll show, but if it does, you can always go back and adjust that and just add in, just get another roll of mesh and cut you a couple of more pieces. I just hate to cut a new roll just for a couple of pieces. So we'll try this and just see if it works okay. And we'll put this last cluster of ruffles on this outer edge. And you just undo that twist. Make sure that your strip stays in place. Okay, and I don't think that'll be noticeable that that one in the middle only has 2 ruffles. Okay, so that's our witch hat. Now we're going to go back and add in some ribbon strips along this bottom and put a cluster bow at the top. I have 3 different ribbons that I'm going to use for ribbon strips. One is a black and orange chevron, and the back side is black and white stripe, and then just a black and white chevron and a lime green chevron. I'm going to cut pieces about 12 inches in length. It's always good to do a test before you cut up all your ribbon to make sure that the length that you want is really what you need. So we're going to make a ribbon cluster and just do a test. But we're going to finish off our ribbon ends with a chevron cut. So you can just fold your ribbon in half and then fold it again lengthwise. Have that folded edge cut away from that folded edge, and then when you open it up, you have both ends chevroned. Now I'm just going to stack these ribbons. Make sure you have your right side up. Just layer them and just pinch them in the center. And I'm going to attach those to the bottom of the wreath, bottom of the witch hat, using a chenille stem. Just lay the chenille stem over the top, catch it from the back, give it a couple of turns, and you made a ribbon pick. There'll be some places that you'll have a twist that you can use, and if that's the case, you can open up that twist and lay your ribbon cluster down and then re-secure it. I'm going to be attaching some in places where I don't have a twist to use. So to attach it, I'm just going to work my fingers down and attach it to the work wreath frame. When you're adding your ribbon clusters, in some areas where you have added a cluster of ruffles using the chenille stem, you'll need to just work your fingers down and go right on top of that chenille stem that you added, and just put your ribbon cluster right there, and just work it through to where you can find the ends from the back side and secure it in that same place. Now we've added a lot of things in with chenille stems, so you'll want to flip your wreath over to the back and take all those little little ends and just wrap them around your work wreath frame to make that look a little neater, and mainly to get those little sharp ends out of the way so it won't scratch your door or anything. And that short end of your mesh where you cut your mesh loose from the roll, you want to take it and take a zip tie and just secure that little loose end to the work wreath frame so it won't pop out between your ruffles or anything and be shaggy. Now we're going to need to fluff out our ribbons because we flipped it over and kind of bent our ribbons down, but we'll do that at the very end. The next thing we're going to do is add these witch legs. And these witch legs are on a stick, so they're not bendable, but I'm just going to and you may want to hang this on your wall to kind of get your positioning, but I'm going to hang those, kind of put those to the back of the wreath, and I'm going to secure those with the zip tie. Remember the little part of the tree that sticks down? This will be a good place to attach your legs. There's two twists there that I think we can use instead of using a zip tie. So just position your leg. You may want to bring it up into the stuffed portion of the leg so it'll hold good, and just twist that. That'll give you an idea. Then you can put it on your wall and see if you've got your length about right. Now then, if you have your length about right, then you can secure the top of the witch leg. Just use a zip tie and go around your work wreath frame. Okay. Now then. Now next we're ready to make a bow to go on the top. And of course we've attached so many strips of mesh at the top, we've kind of got our tie that we have left kind of off center, but to hang the bow I think it'll still be okay. Now that end of the mesh where we started, I am going to take that and just kind of twist it, and I'm going to flip it to the back of the wreath and bring it down and just attach it with the zip tie to keep it out of the way. I want to make a bow to put on the top of the witch hat, and I'm just going to use the 2 narrow ribbons because I don't want my bow to overpower, but you can use the other ribbon if you'd like. It just all depends. And then I'm also going to use this purple flex tubing just to bring in some purple because there's purple sequins in the shoes. So I'm just going to make a simple loop bow with the ribbons and the flex tubing. Make about a 6-inch loop, about a 5 or 6-inch loop. Of course, twist your ribbon each time to bring your right side up. I'm just going to use a zip tie to secure that. I'm just going to slide that zip tie around it. But before I pull my zip tie completely tight, I'm going to slide a chenille stem under that zip tie. And then just fluff out the ribbon. And then I'm going to take the ends of my ribbons and dovetail those. And then I'm going to use the chenille stem to attach my bow to the top of the witch hat. Now there's my loop bow after I finished it, and I worked in some of the purple flex tubing, but I decided that wasn't enough purple. So I took some more of the flex tubing and just made another cluster of loops. And I'm just going to attach it to that bow. Now I'm going to secure all that to the top of the witch hat. And I'm just going to thread that chenille stem. I'm going to kind of attach it toward the front, but I'm going to thread those chenille stems through the work wreath. The last thing you want to do is fluff out your ribbons, and then always check the back of your wreath and make sure that you don't have anything sharp sticking out, okay? And if you wanted to add more ribbons, more orange, you've got, plenty of ribbon left, or any way that you want to do your ribbon strips. Well, that's our wreath. It turned out to be about 41 inches in length and about 28 inches wide. And you can always add in more ribbon strips if you like. We still have ribbon left over. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel.